Hello, it's Ruthie. Welcome to my channel if you're new here, or welcome back if you've been here, and I thank you so much for coming back. Yes, this is the same day as the other two videos I just recorded. I'm not gonna go fully into this topic today, but I think this is important enough to just have like a short video with like a PSA that you should go to pelvic floor physical therapy. Yeah, you should. Yeah, you should. So, I am pissed and shocked that nobody, not a single doctor from the time I was 14 up to 26 has recommended pelvic floor physical therapy to me. I'm pissed about that. I think it's unbelievable. I think anyone who has an IBD diagnosis should go to pelvic floor physical therapy, and especially those of us who've had their colons removed and had an ostomy bag. Because with an ostomy bag, you don't use your butthole for however long you have an ostomy bag. So those muscles are just not in use whatsoever. And then I had the reversal, so now I have a J pouch and I use my butthole. I went from 6 months of no usage to just using it, and not one person thought it would be helpful for me to delve into like the muscles of my pelvic floor. It's shocking. It's honestly shocking. I'm speechless about it because it's like, how did nobody think that this would be a good idea? I don't know how, but this video is to hopefully save someone from incorrectly pooping for over a decade, like I was. Hello, friends. So, I have tried to record this so many times throughout the past almost 4 months at this point. I recorded the first section of this video the same day I recorded the previous 2 Ruthie Rambles videos I've posted on September 8th, I want to say. It was like the beginning of September. So, you know, full seasons have changed. Lots has happened since I originally recorded this. Also, one day last week, I tried to record this section of the video, and so I might use a few of those clips here as well, but in general, I was in a shit mood that day. I didn't really have anything helpful to add, but I knew I needed to add this section of the video before I could post it. So, here's the thing. I think I actually did a fine job explaining like why I needed to record another section in order to post this video. So I'm just gonna like leave that chunk in, and then I'll continue to explain in the better mood I'm in now. Hello, friends. My original plan when I went to pelvic floor physical therapy was to document the process and to record myself when I'm like coming home from a session when like all the information's fresh in my head, and document that in order to hopefully share it with others, the things that you can do on your own if you don't have access to a pelvic floor physical therapist, but also for myself to like reinforce what I'm learning. And the best way for me to do that, and I think probably for most people, is to teach, which is really why I teach everything I teach, is because through teaching, I learn more. And I have this whole thing like basically edited already, but the thing that happened was that the past 3 months, and even while I recorded this, I've regressed and I've been feeling sick. I don't know how else to say. I've been feeling like shit. I've been feeling very sick and have not been sleeping well. Have had accidents in the middle of the night again. And it hit me probably about a month ago that all the things that I've been experiencing lately were all of the things that I was just talking about in this pelvic floor video that pelvic floor physical therapy really helped with. Like the accidents in the middle of the night, like straining going to the bathroom, and just all of that extra tension that I hold down there, and the lack of awareness in general that I have of my pelvic floor. This is all too distracting back there, huh? So anyway, all of this to say that it did not feel right for me to put out a video talking about how much pelvic floor physical therapy is helping me when one, I'm not actively going anymore since my therapist moved away. And two, all of those symptoms that I was talking about that got better from physical therapy are back. And it just seemed like almost dishonest to put it out there without adding in this part, which is me explaining to you guys that I really have not been keeping up with the exercises I've been told to do. I've been slammed with work these past few months. That's really what has delayed this part of the video for the past month, is that I just genuinely have not had the time whatsoever. I have a mini little health update, I guess. There hasn't been anything that's actually happened yet, but I met with my gastroenterologist, or the nurse practitioner of my gastroenterologist, for the first time in a while, close to a year. I met with her yesterday. My mom came with me to the appointment to make sure I actually go, because the amount of times I have just gotten to check in at an appointment, they ask something about my insurance, I burst into tears and just leave. That's happened many times, so I don't want that to happen anymore. And for now, I'm very grateful my mom can come with me to assure that I actually go. And also the fact that I feel like I black out in doctors' offices and then I don't remember anything that they said. So just it's very helpful to have someone else there to listen to what they're saying, to remind you to say the things that you wanted to ask about, so you're not leaving the appointment just oh no, I forgot to ask about that. It's just always better to have two minds. So it was a very great appointment yesterday, and there was a lot of plans that we have set up now. Everything starts at the end of January, so I have about a month more of living the way I'm living. I'm sorry, it's Molly. She just keeps throwing her bone around. Anyway, so I'm feeling very excited and very hopeful about the path forward. So as I said in the earlier section in this, I've been wanting to share about pelvic floor physical therapy since I first went close to a year ago at this point. And my original plan was to document the whole process so that I could take the things from pelvic floor physical therapy that are helpful for me, that can be done on your own at home, and just make that information, easily accessible. So in case you don't have access to pelvic floor physical therapy, or you can't find someone you feel comfortable with, I hope that I can at least provide some information of steps that you can take, or exercises you can do on your own at home that will help. And as you'll hear in this video, I had a rough go at pelvic floor physical therapy. My pelvic floor is messed up. It is overactive. It is discoordinated. I explain it further in this video, but it's been a rough time. And I finally got to a point with my pelvic floor physical therapist where I was feeling good. I was feeling motivated and hopeful that I will be able to keep doing the exercises on my own, since she moved to frickin' Iowa. And I was like, oh my God, I just don't want to work with someone else. It's a very intimate process that I will explain further later in the video. And I really wanted to be able to keep up with the work on my own. And I wasn't able to, or I just didn't, for whatever reason. I realized after, honestly, kind of during recording the main chunk of this video back in September, I knew that some of the things I was saying were no longer true, but I remembered when I was actively going to pelvic floor physical therapy, I remembered just from the notes I left in my phone of just the things that improved. And so I do know that when I was actively doing the work of pelvic floor physical therapy, a lot of my symptoms improved. Mostly the mechanical symptoms, mostly the sensation of not being able to poop, pushing and nothing's coming out, the hemorrhoids popping out, for that prolapse that happens, the accidents in the middle of the night, not feeling fully empty after I am going, all of those things got significantly better when I was actively going to pelvic floor physical therapy. And when I stopped, I had full intentions of keeping up with everything on my own. And like I said, I just didn't. And slowly over the weeks and months, I just got really sick. Symptoms all came back, and it just didn't feel right to post this video praising pelvic floor physical therapy and how much it helped me without also adding in that I'm no longer receiving those benefits because I stopped doing the work. And I didn't want to post the video just with that angsty section of me added in because I wasn't doing anything to help it. I was just like, yeah, like I recorded this video because it helped me, but I stopped doing it and now everything sucks and I didn't have any sort of solution for that. And I know that that's fine, and like you can post videos like that, it's just being like authentic and real and all that stuff. But it didn't feel right. It didn't feel right to make a video explaining all the benefits that this program gave me. And then I stopped doing it, and now all my symptoms are back, and I have no plans to help myself get back on track. So I really wanted to wait until after going to my GI doctor yesterday to get this section recorded, get everything edited and posted, because I needed a new referral for pelvic floor PT, because according to my old doctor, I already went through pelvic floor physical therapy. I had, I think 12 sessions maybe, and I was good, so I no longer needed it. So for insurance purposes, I needed like a new order for therapy, physical therapy. So I got that. I finally reached out to the colleague of my old pelvic floor PT who moved away. I have an appointment with her at the end of January. So I'm very excited to get back on track with that stuff. And the next day I have an appointment with the new female IBD psychologist out of Mass General who works with my IBD nutritionist and works with my with my gastroenterologist. It's just so incredible that this is a thing now. Like, I went from when I first got diagnosed when I was 14 at Children's Hospital in Boston. My literal pediatric gastroenterologist told me and my mom to my face, there's no evidence that what you eat affects how your stomach feels. And we literally laughed because we thought he was joking, but he wasn't. He was being serious. So we went from that to now, like we've come so, I'm glad we've come so, it's expected, like we should have come this far since that was back in 2009, 2010. So yeah, it's been like 13 years. So I'm glad we've come this far, but it's just really encouraging that the gastroenterology department now fully understands and accepts that IBD is a very complicated disease. It has a mind part to it. It has a physical gut genetics part to it. It has an inflammation part to it. It has a diet part to it. Like, there are so many things that affect your gut health, and everyone knows this now. Everyone's in agreement on this now. It's not helpful to have a nutritionist, a psychologist, and gastroenterologist who are separate and don't talk to each other, because you could be going through a flare-up and your nutritionist could know it's because you haven't been eating the right foods for you, or your psychologist could know it's because you're in a really stressful season of life, or your GI could know that it's because there's physical inflammation present in the gut. And if they're not talking to each other, then there's no way for them to know all that. So I'm just very, very excited and very hopeful about the future plans for my healthcare. I still feel like shit currently, but my spirits are high and I feel hopeful. I am very excited to actually document the pelvic floor physical therapy process this time around. I'm honestly glad that I didn't the first time, because it's a really personal and intimate process. Intimate process. I keep a lot of things to myself. There's a lot that I don't share on YouTube, even though it probably seems like I share everything. I really don't. I keep a lot to myself. I am pretty private. But the things that I choose to share are things that I've thought a lot about and I've decided I want to share. And so I'm glad I had that private time with my own pelvic floor muscles, going through that whole process. And now I know more what to expect going into it. I'm sure, just working with a different therapist, I'm sure that I'll learn new things or new ways of thinking of things. So I'm very excited, and I will be documenting that process, and I will be sharing it with you all on this channel. And I'm very excited about that. So without further ado, I'm going to play the original pelvic floor video that I recorded back in September now. But I just wanted to make sure that you guys all knew where I was at currently, since it's been a while since I filmed a talking video. And yeah, I hope you enjoy the rest of the video, and I'll see you soon. Okay, bye. So my gastroenterologist, finally someone recommended that I try pelvic floor physical therapy. So I go to pelvic floor physical therapy and had the most amazing physical therapist, and she had to move, which I'm really upset about. But I'd say the first thing to keep in mind is you have to feel comfortable with your pelvic floor physical therapist. A lot of what the work that we did is internal work. So she, has like a glove on her hands and is sticking her fingers into my rectum to manually release the muscles. And she learned that from her examination, that I have what is called a discoordinated pelvic floor. So basically how I understand it is when I feel like I'm pushing to poop or like to open up my butt, it's actually doing the opposite. And it's actually clenching and getting tighter. And then when I think I'm like clenching, it's opening more. So it's the wires are crossed, In my mind, I'm doing one thing, but my muscles are doing the opposite. So that in itself was eye-opening to learn. And the fact that when there's something inserted in you, like her finger or like the wand thingy that she used, when it's like inserted into you, you can feel like the relationship to it. So I could feel like, so if this is my butthole and there's fingers in it, oh no. So if this is your butthole and the fingers are in here, you can, it's kind of hard to tell just like this if you're clenching or opening. But when you feel it in relationship to something that's inside of you, you can feel if you're squeezing the thing that's there or releasing around the thing that's there. It's kind of hard to explain, but hopefully you get it. So when I could finally feel what it feels like to actually release, it's a sensation like your pelvic floor is lengthening and widening and like opening. And she gave me a bunch of exercises to kind of like retrain that. So a lot of people, when you go to pelvic floor physical therapy, it's oftentimes women who are like postpartum or gearing up to give birth. And it's a lot of like, Kegels and keeping everything like tight and like lifting. But mine was the opposite. So like, I figure it's because I'm someone who was so terrified from a very young age of having an accident, of like pooping my pants or farting in front of people. I have videos where I talk about that if it interests you. But I've always been very afraid of that. And so I remember training myself to constantly be clenching. And the way she explained it was so helpful of like, if you just look at the bicep, if you're constantly clenching, it's actually like a tight muscle is actually a weak muscle. So with the butthole constantly clenching, it's actually very weak. So the same way, if you're constantly like this, it's actually very weak, because the way you build strength is from the extension and then contraction. So if there's no extension whatsoever, then you're not building any muscles. You're just holding it in this one, that looks strong. You're just holding it in this like one spot. So I was not doing any sort of lengthening and releasing. I was just clenching all the time. So all of my exercises were lengthening and opening and releasing. And that's what I still do to this day. I'm not in a place, and I don't know if I'll ever be in a place where I need to do the opposite, where I need to like work on the strength of my clenching, because I'm good. I'm good on that. I really need to build strength by doing the opposite, by lengthening, opening, releasing, and then coming back to center, opening, coming back to center. And there's exercises you can do where you open and come back. So like if this is, how can I do this? So like if this is the center, this is like neutral position, you can do exercises where you lengthen and open, come back to center. Lengthen and open, come back to center. Or you can do ones where you tighten and come back to center. Tighten and come back to center. Or, she doesn't recommend I do this, but you could lengthen, open, come back to center, tighten, come back to center, open, you know? So right now, and for the foreseeable future, I will be lengthening and opening and just communicating to my body that when it's time to let go, we lengthen and open. And it's something I practice every time I'm on the toilet going poop, is a proper push. So I will insert some of like the graphics here, or maybe I'll just make a whole nother video kind of going into the information I learned and like the handouts that she gave me. Basically, I learned that so much of my constipation that I had that I really thought was inflammation was actually more mechanical. And it was just that my actual rectum and anus were not lengthening and opening enough to expel what is within me. And it was just kind of, you know, keeping everything like moving slower and more constipated. So there's been so many issues that have cleared up or have gotten a lot easier for me to handle since learning about all this stuff. And so I just want to throw it out there to anyone who cares, anyone who has IBD, IBS, any digestive issues, or even if not, I was so unaware of our pelvic floor muscles. They were just completely, like they were just there. But these are muscles that you can control, just like any other muscle, that you can work on building, that you can work on, you know, how they function, just like any other muscle in your body, which is really, really eye-opening to me. And I'm just so grateful that I was finally recommended to go to pelvic floor physical therapy. And I highly recommend that you go too. So yeah, I think that's about all I got for this video. Thank you so much for watching. I really hope that this was helpful to you in some way, shape, or form. And I hope you share those helpful things with anyone in your life who would benefit. If you know anyone who struggles with poopy problems, see if they've gone to pelvic floor physical therapy. And if not, make them go. I'm just kidding, don't make them. But suggest that they go. And really, I can't overstate how important it is that you are comfortable with your physical therapist. I mean, I'm sure you get that based on what I just talked about. Like, it's a very personal thing, and you can't have someone who makes you feel uncomfortable, or else your butthole will not loosen at all. At least mine wouldn't. I just stay clenched the whole time because I'm like, I'm not safe. So you need to feel safe. You need to feel like you are free and open to release. So yeah, let me know if you want to hear more about this. I probably will make another video regardless, but let me know if you have any questions down in the comments below. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and do all the YouTube-y things. Ring the little notification bell if you want to get notified whenever I upload a new video. And yeah, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Okay, bye.